Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today what I'm doing is how do you worm a horse? Okay, so worming a horse can be definitely different depending on your views on that. Again, this is not a professional view. This is literally just what I do and what I believe and have seen what works. Different for every single person, but this is just what I do whenever I worm a horse. So during the course of a year, I will worm a horse in April or maybe March, depending on how warm it is, and then usually in a August, September, sometimes even October. So it is now late September, and I'm going to be worming today. Okay, so worming can have a lot of benefits. For the main reason, it really just helps your horse's digestive system and literally gets rid of the worms and bots, just like you have with a cat or dog. So you do it twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. Now, typically when you do that, you do want to pick 2 different active ingredients. So during the spring, I used a Deworming, and if you go to your local Tractor Supply, they have lots of different options for you. And then I also now have, no, I didn't use Deworming. That's what I'm using here today. I used a Zoetis, or I don't know how to say it really, but it was just a different active ingredient. Today is the one I definitely always like to use, which is the ivermectin. It is the cheapest one you can find. Now to find them the cheapest, if you want to buy in bulk, you can buy online at Chick's Saddlery or Jeffers Equine, and you can get a bunch of them for cheap, and they don't go bad really quickly. It just depends on how many horses you have. Now you do want to use them before they expire. So this one will expire this year, this fall, but right now we're going ahead and worming today, so it's not going to affect it. Even if you use it the next spring, it would still be okay. But if it's a couple years out, it's just not as effective. So if you wanted to give just a little bit extra, it just wouldn't be as effective. So now, whenever you open your box, now be careful, of course, with children. You don't want to have these around them. It comes in a little tube like this, okay, and it has over here on the right-hand side, it has all the weights of your horses. So she is about 1,000 pounds, actually a little bit less than that. So I'm going to go to the 1,000-pound mark, move this little white thing, and so now whenever I give the wormer medicine, it will only give enough for a 1,000-pound animal. Now with your horses, it does only go up to 1,250. So if you have a draft, you may be able to still make it with that, but it just kind of depends on your horse. But this is the most important with the poundage whenever it comes to ponies, because the ponies are going to be down here in the 500 range sometimes, and that could definitely affect them. So you want to make sure you get the right poundage. Now when you take the top off of this right here, you'll be able to worm them. Now wormer goes through orally, so it's going to be through the mouth. Now I don't believe she's ever had this done before, or she might have, I don't know. If they've never had it done before, you can kind of go with it, but if they're really bad about it, what you could do is take an old tube of these and actually put some applesauce in it, or get one of those, not injections, but one of those, I don't even know what you call it. The things that you can squeeze the medicine out of and then squeeze it back in, or you could do that. You could even start with water, but typically if you start with applesauce, then it has the same kind of tendency and texture, and so if the horse will take applesauce, then they will take the wormer. That also would work as a good treat if you want to afterwards. And if you can at all, try to get a treat in afterwards, but they do tend to spit it out. So also with that little bit right here, you may want to keep this little bit, at least at the very beginning, and make sure they swallowed it. Okay, so we'll see how it goes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open her mouth, and then I'm going to slide this wormer tube right up in the side here of her mouth, and hopefully she will take the most that it will. If you put them on the tongue, it almost always comes right out. So we'll see if we get this, how well we get this to go. Alright, so now if you do not know how well your horse will do this, I would not recommend this as far as opening the horse's mouth. Sometimes the horse will just open their mouth just to be nice, but if they don't, and you need them to open their mouth, what you can do, now be very careful here and know what you're doing, because there are teeth and they can bite you, and depending on the temperament of your horse, that would also depend on that. So if I take my finger and go to the corner of their mouth, almost touch the roof of her mouth, then she'll open her mouth. So again, I went through the corner, touched the top of her mouth, and it caused her to open up. So I'm going to do that one more time. Yep, and see, I just had her open her mouth. Nothing bad happened. She just opened her mouth. So that way she doesn't think every time she opens her mouth it's going to be something yucky, because this does probably taste pretty yucky. At least they seem to think so. Okay. Alright. Let's give her some warmer. Okay. We'll wait till she calms down just a little bit. Now they're not usually going to calm down, just trying to get her to not freak out. Alright. Good girl. So again, I kind of like had her stop freaking out for a second, and I kind of angled it towards her cheek. That way if any of it got stuck, it would get stuck on her inside of her cheek, not her tongue. So I kind of look around and there's no kind of gel looking substance around her feet, so it looks like she did swallow, which is good. So I do not need to give her this little extra bit, but I will save this because I'm going to worm another horse, and then they may need it, depending on how bad they are. Okay, and so now I always like to give a treat afterwards, one of their favorite treats, and then I'll put her away. Okay, so now with worming, whenever you do worm them, do keep a watch out for any kind of symptoms that they may have. So like if they have any kind of side effects or an effect to it, just be aware of that. Just kind of notice if your horse acts a lot more different. I also would not worm them right before you go exercise them or have a big heavy exercise. Like do not worm like the day of a show or something. Just because I'm not saying I'm not going to ride her. I will still ride her this afternoon. But she will have about 10-12 hours before I ride her. So like I just wouldn't do this right before. So this needs to happen when she's going to be able just to be out in the pasture and just kind of be a horse for a little bit. And then that way there's no stress to her. She doesn't get over-exercised in case of any kind of side effect. You just don't want to make it worse. Okay? Alright, well thank you so much for watching my video. And this is Mercedes, and I'll do a Meet My Horse video pretty soon on her. If I haven't already. I don't know which order this video will come out in. So this is Mercedes Benz. She's a 5-year-old mare. So super good mare, and just took her warmer like a champ. So thank you for watching. God bless, be adventurous. Make sure you follow me on Mountain Creek Stables and Instagram, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.